Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Last week I featured a video where I was testing out a mil-spec MRE that I found in a store in Harrison, Arkansas called Mainstreet Merchandise Outlet. While a lot of places carry actual MREs, it's sometimes hard to find anything other than the usual variety of pasta-based dishes or rice-based dishes, and find anything that's just really unique. And then if you find those true unicorns, they can be ridiculously expensive. But the great thing about this store was not only did they have MREs for $6, they had some really good ones. I found 3 awesome MREs, and last week we tried the pepperoni pizza MRE. And I asked you guys if you wanted to see me try the other 2 that I picked up, one of them being the jalapeno and cheese hamburger, and the other one being beef tacos. It was a resounding yes that y'all wanted to see me continue trying these MREs I picked up. I don't think I got a single person that said, no, we don't want to see that. So for this week, let me present to you this MRE. The menu number is covered up. Hang on a second. Let me get the price tag off of there. All right, this appears to be menu 6 beef taco filling. I think it's more than just the filling, but you know, we'll see once we get in there. But there it is. Menu 6 beef tacos. So let's get in this bag and see what is in menu 6. This one has a peelable seal for easy open capabilities. Let's see if that's a thing. Will it easy open? Yes, it will. All right, let's dive in there and see what is in that stack of goodies inside this bag. First thing to come out is our beef taco meat. Feels like a pretty substantial portion of taco meat. All right, let's see if we can find our heater and get this thing started. There is our FRH, our flameless ration heater, for those of you who don't know what that stands for, and our cardboard sleeve, which we need in order to cook. Here's hoping that this one works as well as the last one did. I really could not believe how much success I had with that one. I've had so many fails with these things. That one fired off like a NASA rocket. We just got to open that up, pour in a little bit of water. We have a fill line down at the bottom. Close that up real quick. Shake it just a little bit. Get it inside our cardboard sleeve before it gets too hot to handle. Yep, it's firing up. We are 2 for 2, people. Let's get our taco meat down in there with it. Set that aside to heat up. Let's see what else we've got in here, especially if we need to find things that need to go in there with the taco meat to heat up. We have our beverage bag. We've got another little soft pack of something in here. How cool is this? This is Santa Fe rice and beans. We're gonna have a full-on Mexican dinner. We got tacos and rice and beans. Let me get that added in with that taco meat. Now with this, we have to be sure and put it on the other side of the heater so that both of these items can get warmed up. So we've got taco meat, heater, rice and beans. All right, what else could be in here? Finding a lot of good stuff so far. Next up, we have a pack of tortillas whole grain. Usually there's 2 in each of these. I will say this, that's a lot of food to put on 2 tacos, so I have a feeling we might be spooning some out. Next up, we have some cheese spread. We had some of that in the last video, and it was very potent, but it was good, and that'll make a nice little topping to go on those tacos. Now, one thing I've learned about the cheese spread is that you don't want to put it in with the heater, because the temperature that heater gets to causes this stuff to kind of coagulate really bad. But I am going to set it on top of that so it can get a little bit of the heat without getting overheated. Next up, we have what I'm assuming is our dessert. Yep, this is a nut raisin mix. I guess we're going to try to stay regular with this one. If the tacos don't do it for us, the raisins will. Then we have our good old American GI MRE spoon, good high quality brown plastic spoon. I think you could probably dig to Australia with that spoon. And then last but not least is our accessory kit. So let's explore and see what's in that. And by the way, we're going to keep this bag because this makes a great trash bag as we go through these items. So in our accessory kit, we have, obviously, the toilet paper / napkins, Yellow Stuff artificial sweetener, Bill's Brew instant coffee, a moist towelette, a pack of sugar, a pack of non-dairy creamer, a pack of salt, and a pack of Chiclets gum. Now I'm a little disappointed there's not a protein shake in this one because I realized after I finished filming the video last week, in fact, a couple of you pointed this out, that I didn't make an Army Mochaccino by adding that protein drink in with my coffee. So looking back on it, I really wish I had thought to do that while I was making that video. And unfortunately, we're not going to have the opportunity to do it in this one. There's also not a drink mix to speak of in this. All I got with this one was coffee. That last MRE, I had 3 drinks between the protein shake, the coffee, and the lemonade. And this one, all I got is coffee. Tacos and coffee. Anyway, let's get into it. First off, let's open up our spoon, then get our Bill's Brew coffee. And of course, to make our coffee, gotta have the official Dad Budget Adventures bling mug. Well, this thing has been through it. My friend Amanda that made this for me did such an amazing job of it that I've been using this thing probably for over a year now. And as far as I can tell, it has not lost a single stone off of this. Good job, Amanda. Add in our sugar and our creamer. You know, a lot of times you can tell what an MRE has been through based on the condition of the creamer. If it's been taken care of, the storage conditions have been ideal, a lot of times the creamer will come out in perfect shape. If it's been subject to things like extreme heat or a constant fluctuation in temperatures, that right there is going to be the first sign something's not right, because it's going to start getting clumped up. All right, let's stir this up, get our coffee ready to go. So we don't really have a whole lot we can try in here while we're waiting for the taco meat and the rice and beans to cook. All we've really got is our coffee, our tortillas, and our raisin nut mix. So first off, let's give that coffee a taste. This is the same stuff we had in the video last week, so I'm not really expecting anything different, but let's give it a go. Yep, it's that same earthy coffee, not too bitter, not too harsh. You do have to be careful making this, that you use the slightest amount of water that you can, because it's really easy to water this down. And let's face it, if you're having to resort to MRE coffee, you're probably wanting it strong and not watered down and weak. You always want your coffee strong and your enemies weak. Let's turn to this nut raisin mix and see what it's all about. It's got peanuts, it's got raisins, looks like almonds, and chocolate candies. All right, let's get us a handful of everything. Nice little sweet and salty snack. Down a hatch. That's got a good flavor to it. It's not too bland. It's not too generic tasting. It's got a surprisingly good rounded out flavor to it. And it kind of works well with the coffee. Yeah, that's not half bad. Start getting our cheese kneaded up a little bit. Let it get mixed together. Soften it up just a little bit. We got to make this stuff easy to use. Next, let's open up our tortillas, whole grain. See what kind of condition those are in. Those look really good. That's impressive. They're intact, in good shape. They're not gummy feeling, and they're not falling apart. Let's set these out onto a plate and start getting ready to make some tacos. Let's get out our rice and beans. Feels like it got sufficiently hot. Let's open that up and see what we've got inside here. This looks and smells surprisingly good. It's definitely not restaurant presentation by any means. For an MRE side, that don't look that bad. Let's get it out on the plate. There we are. Calling it rice and beans might be a little generous because there's a lot of rice and very few beans. But I do see corn and peppers, and I mean, it's a nice looking mix. So let's get a bite of this, see how it is. Going in. It's not the greatest rice and beans I've ever had. It's far from terrible, but it's definitely not an exciting flavor by any means. This is one of those things that if you put it on a plate in front of most people, they'd be like, oh, that came out of some weird MRE meal, didn't it? It's got a decently rounded out flavor to it. It's just not spectacular. But let's get this taco meat out and see how these tacos turn out. Let's get that heat nicely distributed through. Let's open it up and see what passes for tacos with a military MRE. That is one of the most lightly scented taco meats I've ever encountered. I can pick up on the seasoning. It's just not very strong. It is surprisingly light in aroma. It's also not the greatest looking thing in the world, but let's not judge a book by its cover. Let's give it a try. I'm just going to get a spoonful of the taco meat, see how that goes down. Bon appetit. The closest thing that I can describe this as is canned chili. It has that same overall flavor. It has that same kind of a canned top note to it. This one is not going to fool anybody that this is just processed meat that's been canned in a retort pouch. But let's see what happens when we put it on one of these whole wheat tortillas. I did a video recently where I freeze dried some fajitas and then used MRE tortillas to eat them with. And somebody pointed out a mistake that I was making that could have been potentially catastrophic. And that is that when you fill these, you don't fill them along this fold. Because of the way they're packaged, that creates a weakness in the tortilla. What I was told is that you fold these in the opposite direction before you fill it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a blowout along that fold line. So to the viewer that shared that, thank you for the information. Thank you for saving my shirt from a potential problem. So let's get some of this taco meat out onto this tortilla shell and see how it turns out. Let's get that in there along crossways from the fold. And there's a lot of meat in here, so I'm going to put more on here. I'm going to make sure that if I have regrets, I have big regrets. As they say, go big or go home. And of course, let's serve this as intended and add the cheese sauce. And because this stuff is so strong, I'm not adding any more than that. All right, here we go. There it is, our MRE taco, complete with cheese sauce. Let's give that a bite. Going in. It tastes about like you'd expect it to. And, just as the viewer predicted, had a blowout along that fold line. This one is different, but it's not what I'd call a treat. It's not my favorite, but it's also not horrible. It's one of those things that if I was sitting around the campfire with friends and somebody tossed me that bag, I'd eat it. I wouldn't complain. But if it weren't for the fact that I only paid $6 for it, I might gripe a little bit. If I had paid for that meal, what I would have had I ordered it online 3 months ago, I would have been highly, highly upset. These things very recently were going for as much as $30 a pop for these meals. This one, it ain't worth $30. Let's see what happens if I put some of the rice and beans on the taco to go with all the other stuff. Because honestly, if I made a meal like this at home, that's how I'd be eating it. The rice and beans makes for a much better taco. This one's got a little bit of heat to it, just a little burn on the back of your tongue. Not anything major, but it is enough to kind of kick it up and make it better than it probably would be if it didn't have that heat. Speaking of heat, oh, that's an awkward segue. If you think this content's hot, give us a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell to be made aware of all upcoming videos. And as always, feed the algorithm. Just like these MREs feed our troops in the field, feed the algorithm by leaving a comment and tell me if you've ever tried this particular MRE. I love hearing from service members who actually consumed these in the field, because I guarantee you it's a very different experience than me standing here in this studio eating this meal. Some of the creative ideas for how to make these things better are really an interesting topic. In fact, I had one viewer that pointed out that they used to take things that they didn't like and throw them into a cardboard box. And then at some point you pick out a couple things you like and do something different with it. A lot of innovative ideas come out of situations like that, where you've got a variety of things to choose from. Maybe this guy didn't like it, but maybe you do, and now you've made something really cool out of it. In fact, I was thinking about doing a video where I take obscure MRE items and try to make something better. And if that sounds like something you'd like to watch, leave me a comment and tell me about it. Maybe we'll look into doing that. I can order a bunch of MRE components offline and then see what kind of weird concoctions we can create. Let me get another bite of this taco. You know, oddly enough, the coffee is not bad with the taco. It's not something I would normally pick to go with tacos, but, you know, it's what I got, and it's not too bad. Let's get us another handful of these. That's pretty good stuff right there. I guess we'll go ahead and make up this other one. Might as well. Get some more of this cheese-flavored toothpaste out here. And then to see if it helps any, I've got these little packs of salsa. Maybe it just needs salsa. I know some of y'all are out there going, put the hot sauce on it. Let's give it a try like that. All right, looks like that's it for this one. And until I determine if I'm going to subject myself to any more of this and try to finish this meal, I'm going to shut down the camera because I'm not going to make y'all watch that. But that's going to be a wrap for this one. Until the next one, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. We'll see you around.